Hi, it's Monday, it's Lisa, and you're watching The Real Revolution. So, our topic today comes from a viewer. She asked for some advice on how to stop negative thoughts in your own mind and also how to kind of get out of that spiral of negativity when someone makes a comment about your body or about yourself, and how you can kind of break that cycle of negative thinking. I just want to quickly start by saying that I think this is really a societal problem. It's a really sad reflection on our society that women's bodies and appearances are just not their own. They're seen as something that's free for anyone to comment on or to judge, and that's really wrong. Not that that brings you a lot of comfort when somebody's making a comment about your body for you to think about, well, this is a societal problem, but I just wanted to point it out that it is, and really no one's immune. I mean, there's a famous swimsuit model right now that's being torn apart because of the size of her thighs, and she's, itty-bitty and attractive. I think about Gabby Douglas, the famous Olympian, and how many people were focused on her hairstyle when she was winning medals for the United States. I think about Hillary Clinton, who is, a brilliant politician and a very accomplished and intelligent woman. And she had an interview that's kind of famous where a reporter said to her, well, what kind of designers do you favor? And she kind of said, would you ever dream of asking a man that question? And the reporter kind of had to say no. So anyways, I just wanted to start off by pointing that out. But at any rate, it's always, you can think about that in general, but as far as your own thoughts, what I'd just like to comment on is we get into the habit of being really, really negative with ourselves, or at least I do, and I think that starts even as children. As a teacher, I see it with my second graders, kids who are already in this habit of just talking very negatively to themselves. And so I think that the way we break out of that habit, because when you think all these thoughts, these negative thoughts, you really internalize them, and that's what you start to believe. So I think that you have to kind of recognize in yourself negative thought patterns and then make a conscious choice to break them. For me personally, some of the negative thought patterns that I get stuck in, I can be a very catastrophic thinker. Something small in my mind can become something huge. Like, for example, when I was single and dating, if I gained a little bit of weight, I would equate that to, I gained a few pounds, therefore I'm unattractive, therefore I will be single and alone forever. And I would just jump from a small conclusion to a big conclusion, and I would really have to stop and recognize and think to myself, I gained a few pounds, is this a big deal? Not really. Does this mean I will be alone forever? Not really. And you have to sort of recognize when you're going off into that path and then make a conscious effort to stop it and veer yourself back into a positive direction. And I'm not saying it's always easy. I mean, I will definitely have conversations with my mother where she will point out, you're really thinking catastrophically right now. Let's be realistic. Let's see. Another thing that I'm really guilty of, another guilty thought pattern is I'm a very all or nothing thinker. This is something I learned about myself when I was in therapy for a little bit. I see people as good or bad, or situations as good or bad, black or white. And so I have a tendency to think of myself, well, if I'm not perfect, I'm a failure. And that's a bad habit to get into. And I think one thing that's been really helpful for me is affirmations. And I know it sounds super cheesy, like you're thinking of that video, that Saturday Night Live skit where the guy looks in the mirror and he says, good enough, smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. But that's kind of what you have to do. I mean, for me, like I said, I really get stuck into this mode where I'm perfect or I'm a failure. And for me, I do have to tell myself, I am good enough. I am enough. What I have done is enough. For some people, their affirmation may need to be, I am beautiful. I mean, and that can be hard to believe at first, but you just need to tell yourself and force yourself. I mean, I remember as a kid looking in the mirror, I was probably 7 or 8, and telling myself over and over again that I was ugly, and I think I definitely internalized that even though weight wasn't an issue as much for me when I was a kid, I've always felt uncomfortable in my body. I've always been very conscientious of my teeth and other features, and I definitely made a point to tell myself I was ugly, and the way that you counterbalance that is by making a point to tell yourself that you're good enough and that you're beautiful, or, whatever your affirmation needs to be. We used to always tease my mom when we were teenagers because she will always start off her day with an affirmation, and she'll always sort of end it by saying, can we do it? Yes, we can. And we used to tease her, but that works. Or it's worked for me. Going along with that, having an anthem or a theme song. Mine is Superwoman by Alicia Keys, but I also have some other good ones that I'll link to below, and they can kind of be that same thing. Even though it's cheesy, you get yourself in that mode, and you start thinking positively again about yourself, and you can say to yourself, like, I'm Superwoman, even though it's cheesy. Another thing is, as far as dealing with comments from others, and I'm already at almost 6 minutes, I'm going to try and wrap this up. Think about yourself, is the person who made this comment someone that I care about, that I really give a crap about? And if it was a comment from a family member or a friend, that's kind of a whole different thing. I'm not going to comment on that. But, for example, the cleaning lady at my work has repeatedly, over the course of the time that I've worked there, asked me when my baby's due, and commented that I'm really about to pop. This was way before I was ever pregnant. So it kind of hurt my feelings because I really just wanted to say to her, and I did say to her at some points, I'm not pregnant, I'm just fat. Back off. And, I could let myself go into this downward spiral about it, or ultimately I have to decide, is this someone I really give a crap about? And the answer 9 times out of 10 is no, and I just have to choose to let it go. I can't let that comment ruin my week, or ruin my day, or ruin my hour. I have to let it go. Another thing I wanted to bring up is to try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and this is super, super hard. Think to yourself, could this person just be super socially awkward? Could this person just be rude? I had an experience recently where a flippant comment that I made, honestly, not even thinking anything about it, quite a bit of time later, months and months later, someone brought it to my attention that this flippant comment that I had made had actually kind of hurt their feelings, and they were actually still pretty upset and hurt about it all these months later, where it was a comment that I didn't even really remember making. And that was sort of a lesson to me. I felt really bad about it, but here it was something that had never even crossed my mind again, whereas this person had been internalizing that and ruminating over it and really being upset about it for quite a bit of time. So, think to yourself too sometimes when you're tempted to just keep perseverating on these thoughts, it might not have even been something that someone else might have said to intentionally hurt you. And again, to just make a conscious choice to let it go. I can be very obsessive and think about things like literally I'll stay up all night thinking about things that I'm worried about or anxious about, and you do have to kind of make that choice to put it in a box and let it go. I'm really interested to hear what other people have to say on this topic, and I want all of you to weigh in as well. Let me know in the comments what your anthem or your theme song is, because I'm always on the lookout for more. Have a great Monday, and I will see you next week.